What's going on, Power Private Mastermind? So I finally cleared my head with this whole run thing, and I apologize because, man, getting up to that event took so much out of me mentally that I couldn't have anything else to give at night. But it became a success. I'm sure you guys seen the pictures by now, and it worked. So it was worth all that work. Now here's the thing. Now we've been talking about this Dave Ramsey deal, who is one of my great mentors. You know, I love the guy to death. I love his philosophy. It makes so much sense. But today we're going to talk about two of those baby steps. Baby step one, have $1,000 emergency fund in your account, right? And then also we're going to talk about baby step number two, which is paying off all your debt from the smallest to the largest, right? Those two steps. Now, I know one of you guys are pretty much working on baby step number two very hard and getting close to being debt free, which is a great thing. And I have another one that may not even be at step number one, but that doesn't even matter. What it is if we're on that path. So let me just talk about step number one for this, why the emergency fund is so great. Here's the situation. You don't know what is going to hit you in life. You could go outside tomorrow and all of your tires on your car are flat. You may go in and put your key in ignition and the car doesn't start. You know? You could have a tree that falls through your roof and maybe you don't have the proper insurance, or you don't know what's going to happen. But one thing I know for sure, if you live life guessing or just hoping, or even I've heard of people praying that an emergency doesn't happen, that's a bad situation to be in, right? Terrible, right? You are living your life hoping that life does not happen to you. So by you taking the pledge to get that $1,000 in your account, which in itself is not a lot of money and not really a good cushion for an emergency fund, but if you do have emergencies, usually for the most of the time, you probably would have not more than $1,000 emergency. So at least you're kind of covered. And when you put that money in that account, it's an emergency. You don't touch it. When you go to the movies, you don't touch it because you don't have a lot of money over here and you have this emergency fund. You leave it alone. You forget about it because you're trying to take the word emergency out of your life. That's the strategy. That should be your strategy, right? But me, myself, and we're not there yet, but me, myself, I believe in having more than up to 2 years of an emergency fund. Really take the word emergency out of your life. That's just me. But this is something we should strive for. So we got the emergency fund. We know the importance of that. Now let's go to baby step number two, the debt. Every day you go to your mailbox, somebody's trying to get you to become in debt, to get in debt. It's a credit card, a car you can't live without. You know, how many of you have gotten that card, that mail, and the thing said you've been pre-approved for $20,000? You know why these guys are doing that? It's because they're making money off of the debt, interest. But here's a philosophy, and it's an old school philosophy, and it's something that I try to live by. If you don't have enough money to pay for it, don't get it. Yeah, you may be impatient and you want it now. Just like the kids. Mom, I want some popsicles right now. You don't worry about it. If you can't afford it, you don't get it. Just as simple as that. You get in too much trouble when you get these credit cards because you just have to have that computer right now. So you say, hey, can I finance it? And then something that costs something as little as $400 can end up costing you $3,000-$4,000 because you maybe go behind payments, you have to catch up, your interest rate goes up, and it's just a spiral of just badness. You know, the student loans. You know, some people pay student loans into their 60s. Right? That's why education isn't free in America, because people making money off of it. Right? So you gotta take care of the debt. Debt is your enemy. If you're trying to build wealth and you keep sending out payments every month and making very little, you won't have a good business that way. So what? Try not to send any payments out by tackling this. And then here's how you tackle it: from the smallest to the largest. If you got a bill sitting around that's $100, pay it off first. It's easy. That's going to build the momentum up, and you're going to feel great about yourself. Then you say, okay, I paid off one that's $100. Now, where's the one that's $300? Boom, that's done. And you're going to, the adrenaline is just going to keep going inside of you. Before you know it, you're just going to become a monster when it comes to paying off this debt. Right? So, pay it off. Be done with it. Make that your priority. Emergency fund and debt out of your life. Those two things can set you up to bring in a lot of money in your home, and not a lot of it that is leaving. It'll stay in your home for a while. You can take that money and invest it in other things, but debt is not your friend when it comes to building wealth. So I think hopefully I've explained where I'm trying to go with this and how important these two baby steps are, and how they can change your life and give you freedom, give you back. Just those two things. So let's talk about it if you want. But if not, we'll tackle the other steps here later. And thank you guys for being so patient. And until next time, signing off.